The Dr. Ray Podcast is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio. Here's today's monologue with Dr. Ray Guarendi.
I call it the tyranny of the theory. Much of the stuff that the experts throw at you is not research supported. It's theory. It's their opinion. Let me give you some examples of this. I was reading an article some years back. The very first paragraph, it was in a parent magazine. Timeout is a humiliating experience. That's what this lady said. She had letters after her name. She was some professor somewhere. Humiliating experience. It's isolation, it's rejection, and it makes the child feel like he doesn't belong. Okay. That's her opinion. As far as I know, there's no research on that. Sitting in a chair because you did something wrong when you're 4 years old is going to make you feel like you don't belong to your family. See, she gets away with it because she's supposedly an expert. I'll give you another one. Spanking breeds aggressive children. No, it doesn't. Not in a loving, caring home done under control. It does not. But that's the theory. So they propose it, and because they're experts, automatically it's true. Here's another one. Making a child write sentences or making a child write an essay of apology will make them hate writing. There's no research support for that. None. Zero. But it's put forth as a proposal by someone who supposedly is smarter than we are. And therefore, you just go, I never thought of that. Well, you're an expert. You must know. That's a big one. Or this one. I've heard this one. Oh, man, I got this. I got this when my kids were in preschool. They said this. Don't make a child say, I'm sorry. Well, if he doesn't feel it, all he's doing is gone through the motions. I'm sorry, we'll just force it upon him, and he won't want to say I'm sorry in the future because you jammed it on him. What, that's a theory? There's no research support for that. It's some expert's opinion. But you see what happens? Caller said Cincinnati. Oh, it's 7:40. That's right. Why did I say 7 a.m.? It is 7:40. Forgive the oversight. Bill, if you're listening, sorry about that. Sacred Heart is 7:40. Okay, now I'm glad. I see. I got at least one listener at Sacred Heart. It's a relative. It's my Aunt Clara. These kinds of things are everywhere. Things like if you don't let your child sleep in your bed and he only leaves when he wants to, that somehow, some way you will reduce his capability for empathy when he's 31. Nice theory. Now, there are people who say there is research support for that, but you got to look at the quality of the supposed research. Do kids who are spanked a lot become more aggressive or more antisocial? Oh, yeah, there's surveys that say that high percentage of the prison population has hit corporal punishment a lot when they were kids. The problem with that is that it was part of a bad parenting style, a bad moral upbringing, a fractured family life, a turbulent family existence, and swing first and ask questions later was in that mix. But what they do is they say, well, see, it's the spanking. No, it's the overall bad context with which most of these guys and ladies were raised. So, watch out for the tyranny of the theories. When somebody says something. Okay, I'll give you one more before I go. I was in a meeting, this was years ago, and we were assessing a young lady who was having a lot of troubles adjusting socially. There's a lot of that out there now. And this counselor type said, we are all aware that high standards from the parents breed rebellion. Now, I wanted to raise my hand and say, no, we aren't all aware of this. My inner child wanted to scream, but I controlled my inner child with my adult child, and I didn't. But she spouted it as though it were gospel. If you have high standards, your kids are going to resist them. Going to go against them. Is that putting it on its head? For so much of parenting history, we said high standards is a good goal. Now it's a psychological reverberation that's going to hurt your kid. It's a theory. Now, if you have high standards without love and affection, I got that. But high standards in the context of love and affection, that's an unbeatable combination. Nevertheless, the theory says high standards equal rebellion. Here's another theory. Boy, I'm going to roll now. You homeschoolers, the theory is your children are not going to be socialized. That's a theory. Sounds good, doesn't it? What's the research? The research doesn't support that at all. Homeschool kids, in many respects, are better socialized than their peers because they're comfortable with a broad range of both adults and kids. And there's been a lot of research that talks about self-image, that talks about civic involvement, that talks about success in college, and the homeschoolers do very, very well. So, again, it's a theory. And because theories are proposed by people with letters after their names, the poor layperson goes, well, you know, I don't have letters after my names.
More of Dr. Ray's Monologues can be found on his website, drray.com. Monologues, as well as full-length programs that the doctor is in, can be heard at AveMariaRadio.net and EWTN.com/radio.